Hello guys, back to my YouTube channel. This is Patricia here, and to you our new viewers, thank you for coming and keep coming again. Like I did tell you in our last video that I will be sharing with you what I felt or what I feel or what I think my parents felt when I conceived. When I conceived, I was just 16 years. I didn't know what to do. It was a very big new experience for me. I was dealing with the guilt of betraying my parents. Then I was dealing with the guilt of trying on 3 consecutive counts to commit an abortion that failed. Then I was also dealing with the pain of a rejection from a man that I knew was responsible for my pregnancy. But no one ever got to know what it was that I was dealing with. No one ever sat down to think or put themselves in my shoe and feel exactly how I was feeling then. When my parents got to know I was pregnant, that marked the beginning of another trauma in my own life. What killed me in all this was not just the fact that I was pregnant, but the fact that my parents, especially my father's choosing to keep silent on me. His silence traumatized me. His silence gave me pain every day of my life. I was broken. I was crushed by his silence. Then here I was. My father asked me to go to the village. This was a whole new thing to me. Imagine a place that you walked out of, you ran away from at a very tender age of about 9 months. Now here I am going back to the same place that I have not known or lived in all my life. Going back to Gulo was very traumatizing for me because I kept on imagining a lot of things. In 2003, the LRA was not yet defeated in northern Uganda. I kept on imagining that as well. What would happen to me? What would my life become if, God forbid, anything would happen and I'm abducted and taken as a wife? I kept on imagining a lot of things. Now that alone also added up to the trauma that I was dealing with rather. My life never remained the same again. The other trauma that kept on killing me every day of my life was the fact that every morning I woke up and went to the stream. I woke up to look for firewood. I would find multiples of students, boys and girls, going to school either in the evening or in the morning. And I would keep on asking myself, look, if you had not gone through this, you would be at school with your mates. But this was no more for me. But one thing, no one ever realized that I was dealing with a lot as a teenage girl child. Every day of my life, I regretted. I had the pain. Then going back to school, yes, it was amazing that I had an opportunity to go back to school. But it wasn't nice. It was traumatizing. The very first day I walked into school, I found my mates that I had left at the time I realized I was pregnant. And the same mates were class ahead of me, and they could still afford to remember that I was with them and I got myself pregnant at 16. They traumatized me. They made me feel like all hope was gone. This added up on the trauma that I was already dealing with. I lost it at one point of my life. Having gone back for my S3, S4, yet another trauma came in along my senior 4 vacation. Yes, I had a second grade after my senior 4. But what traumatized me the more was when my father told me he did not have fees for me. It was so hard for me. I wanted to go back to school. It was so painful for me as a girl child. It's not because he could not afford. Yes, he could. But I don't know what it was that he was dealing with. I don't know whether he had not just healed. I don't know. I can't tell. Then the church where I used to pray from took me on for my senior 5 and my senior 6. Then here I was. I finished my senior 5 and senior 6. And I knew my grading would push me to university. But still, I was told there was no money. And I went and looked for a job. I got my first job as a waitress in the restaurant and then progressed to being a waitress in a bar. Why? I wanted to go back to school. But because I didn't have anyone who believed in me. So you can imagine me as a child who had gotten pregnant at the age of 16, dealing with the guilt of betraying my parents, dealing with the pain of rejection, dealing with the pain that I didn't have anyone to help me out of what it was that I was going through, dealing with the pain of being traumatized even when I went back to school, and dealing with the pain of someone telling me that because I had a history of childbirth, I could not progress with my schooling. Before growing up, I used to think probably my parents just didn't like me. But over the years, I have come to appreciate one thing, that my parents got disappointed. They had a lot of hopes, probably in me at that time. And I hurt them. I crushed them. I think that is why they behaved the way they did at that time. I want to say I do not hold anything against my parents. I am a parent now. My little girl is 16 years old now. When I look at her, I also get hurt as a parent when she does the things I am not comfortable with. I think that is what happened with my parents. That they lived in that state of disappointment for quite a long period of time. But one thing I kept asking myself is, why did they ever sit me down and ask me what it was that I was dealing with? I was dealing with a lot of things all throughout my pregnancy, all throughout my going to school. I was dealing with a lot of things. But no one ever asked me what it was that I was dealing with. Thanks to God that I was able to complete my university and I graduated with a very good first-class degree. Until today, I have learned to forgive myself. I do not hold any grudge against my parents. But I want to put it out to you parents out there. Yes, I know our children disappoint, our children frustrate, our children divert. But our children also need us. I have known parents whose children have lost it. And it's not because the parents cannot afford to give their children the desired life any child would get, but because these parents have lost hope, have lost it on their own children. I have known parents who are wealthy, who are rich, but because the child has done a mistake, they choose to drop their children and let the world deal with them. Parents, you are not helping your children. Your children need a chance in life. Your children need someone to believe in them again. I want to assure you today, parents, that much as your children do the wrong things in life, trust me, they sit every day of their lives and regret for the many wrong things they've done to you as parents. But you never get to ask them, or you never get to know what it is that they are dealing with. Until today, my parents have never known what it was that I dealt with all through the time of my pregnancy, going back to school and graduation. No one knows. But today when I walk to them, they are proud. They are very proud of me. But they never ask themselves, or they never sit down to ask me what it is that I dealt with as a teenage girl. I worked so hard every day of my life. And I learned one thing in all the struggles of life, that there is no situation that is permanent. Situations come and go. Unless you choose to keep in that situation, you will get lost in it. Children, I know when you're growing up, you have a lot of ego. Some of you feel like you are above your own parents. Some of you think you are all-knowing. I want to tell you today, you don't know. You don't know. You need help. You are not above that parent that woke up and bore you and brought you into this world. You're not above them. That is what I thought I was. Then I realized I was nothing when I conceived, and the man who was responsible was nowhere in the picture. He was not there. That is when I realized, wow, so my parents have always been telling me this, and I thought I was above them. I know parents usually talk to their children, but because you think that, I think generational gap, I think mommy doesn't know what he's talking about, daddy doesn't know what he's talking about, while other parents forsake their children and leave them for schools to teach them sexual education, to teach them the things of the world. Parents, give your children, give them another chance in life. Because I want to assure you today that you do not know what your children deal with every day of their lives. You do not know. You just do not know. Then you also forsake them. You just don't know that you're adding pain on pain. They're already dealing with pain. They're already dealing with the pain of disappointing you as their parent, but you don't know. I want to urge all of us to be responsible again. One thing that is so funny today is that when they find your children messed out and lost out in the world, they'll say, wow, isn't this so-and-so's son? Especially if you're a popular figure. This must be so-and-so's son or daughter. Imagine someone walking up to you and telling you, we found your daughter on the streets of Kampala selling themselves. Or we found your son in a gang of drug addicts? Do you sleep as a parent comfortably? I'm asking you parents out there. Because you think you're so annoyed with your child, you have the right to forsake them and leave them for the world to deal with them. They will judge you as a parent. They will question your integrity as a parent. They will question your personality as a parent. Learn to forgive your children. It is very bad for you to pass out as a parent in your car, wherever you are, and people are pointing at you with their fingers, with their nose, with their mouth, and questioning why you abandoned a child that they probably saw prospects in them. They'll question why you never gave this child an opportunity in life. What if they eventually achieve on their own? Do you still look up to them and say, this is my child, this is my son, this is my daughter? I don't know. Or what do you think after they have achieved on their own? What do you think they feel about you as their parent? I don't know. That is for you parents. But to me, when I look at my parents now, I feel like they got lost. I hurt them. They least expected me to conceive at that time. One thing I blame them for is remaining in that cage of disappointment from me as a girl child. They remained there. They locked their heads there and kind of held me from progressing. But I want to thank God for them. That yes, they got angry at that time, but today they look at me differently. I don't hold anything against them. I don't hold anything whatsoever. They brought me onto this world, and of course, like any parent, they get angry, they get hurt. But what I'm asking you, even when you get hurt, recompose yourself and give your children another chance in life. People have asked me in recent time that, but Patricia, you're always telling us about this 16-year-old pregnancy, but you never talk about your little girl. Where is she and what does she do? In the next video, before I can progress with my life, I'll invite my little girl to say hello to you. So you get to know her, you get to hear from her. Maybe she has something else to tell you. But I want to conclude by saying thank you to all parents that have continued being parents, even when their children fall. Thank you to all parents that have given their children a hand, even when they fall. Thank you to all children that have risen up when they fall. Thank you for watching my channel. Continue watching, sharing, and above all, subscribe, comment if you think there's something lacking. Click the notification bell such that you always get a notification for every new video that I post. Thank you for watching. Come back again another time and continue keeping safe. Have a good day.